Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's a very awesome day. We are actually here at Night Run Garage. They are located here in Richmond, Virginia. For those of you who don't know, I actually brought my Supra up here to get some work done. I actually met these guys through Ryan Scott from Pure Function. I'm excited to introduce you to them and just tell you a little bit about what's been going on with the Supra. A long journey ahead of us today. After I get the car, we actually have to head to Pennsylvania to hang out with Ryan Scott, Mike Balka, and the crew. So a lot going on. Stay tuned. Alright y'all, so we're in here in the Night Run Garage. I want to introduce you to these two cool cats. This is Chris.
What's up?
This is Ben.
Hi, I'm Ben.
These guys have been taking care of me. They're up here in Richmond, Virginia. They've been kind enough to take care of the Supra. Been super happy so far with these guys. Come as a recommendation from Ryan. You always got to be scared when Ryan recommends people because you know he's half crazy. So
and ugly.
Bad. But anyway, Chris, if you don't mind, can you just go over a little bit of like what we did with the Supra and just a little rundown of some, you know, not everything we did because obviously we did a bunch of tedious stuff, but just some of the major things.
Valve guide seals is the big thing. Found out after doing them, the turbos, the thing that is leaking oil after your rebuild there. Unfortunately, but we'll fix that with a Borg, I think, down the road. Did some Powerhouse Racing goodies, the upper hard pipe, the complete pulley set. We did the power steering reservoir setup. And heater hoses from Powerhouse Racing, and then we redid your catch can lines and heat wrapped them with DEI heat wrap, keep it off the downpipe and melting like you almost did.
Yeah, because you guys remember when the turbo blanket almost caught on fire, these lines got melted as well, so they went ahead and took care of that. Some awesome heat wrap there. They actually also did the fluid damper, replaced the harmonic balancer on it.
Timing belt tensioner.
Yeah, timing belt tensioner.
All the regular maintenance stuff. New valve cover gaskets. Kind of little, like you said, little tedious stuff for now. Valve guide seals is the big thing. We'll do the FIGS engineering, rear diff bushings next. I think that's on your radar next. Yeah, guys. So I will be back. We have another laundry list of items that we're going to take care of. Like he was saying, we got rear diff bushings we're going to do. Sad to say, but this Precision's probably going to go bye-bye. It's going to be a Borg sitting there next time you see it. They were mentioning that probably recommend getting rid of that throttle body. Obviously we'll do all this at the same time. Also took care of a little tedious stuff like the driver's side window wouldn't go up it was going up too much, so we had to put some stops in there that was missing. Just a bunch of little TLC stuff to kind of, you know, just refine the car. It's, you know, it's a 98 with low miles, but there's always little quirks and nonsense that you end up dealing with. So anyway, Ben over here, I'm gonna put Ben on the spot. You want to tell us just a little bit about Night Run and kind of like what y'all are all about and how this thing came to be?
So we started this business about 1.5 years ago. Chris and I both owned Supras and met a few years earlier at a car meet, and we decided to turn this into a full-time business last year. And we specialize in Supras, MR2s, Toyota, Lexus, but we work on pretty much anything up to Dodge Vipers, Porsche, Ferrari. But as I said, our specialty is Supras, and that's what we love. We'll be coming out with some custom Night Run Garage parts at some point in the near future for MK3, MK4 Supras. So we have a few things down the line that we should be coming out with.
Yeah, these guys are awesome enough to let me get one of their awesome shirts. If you guys haven't seen, oh, that's my underwear. That's not a shirt. Oh, that's not the shirt. Here's the shirt. You mind holding this up for me real quick, Ben? Yeah, these freaking shirts are awesome, man. They hooked me up. I love their branding. So yeah, a little shameless plug. If you guys don't have a shirt yet from Night Run or know who they are, go check them out on their website. Their shirts are, it's a really nice shirt, by the way. It's really good quality.
Black wheel.
Yeah.
Even fingerprints, I'm sure, are hard to get off. So it's like, you know, you got to clamp the alignment tool on here, all on 4 points. But at the same thing, if you go anywhere else for like the newer style, they clamp on the wheel. And since the front will probably work, but the rear, you know, it's deep dish and it's concave. And all these new alignment machines, they actually mount like here with like a rubber, so you can get bad alignment readings real easy. And then of course they grab into the tire, and you have 888, so you're not going to be able to grab into them really easy. And it's gonna hit, it's gonna be close. So
yeah. So what Chris is talking about is the car. You can tell it kind of pulls when you're driving it. So obviously you need the alignment. So we're just concerned about obviously getting the wheels marred up by doing it. So. Wheels like this, obviously, you want to be a little extra careful with. And like he was saying, you can see that, obviously, the way the fitment is. You know, the lip sticks out a little bit.
Pretty proud of this car, though.
Yeah, 91 turbo, 94,000 miles I think on it, all original it was. 7M GTE. We were gonna do preventative head gasket on it, so you can kind of up the boost a little bit on it. Exhaust intake, kind of just like bolt-ons. I kind of enjoy the car. We ended up pulling the head off, and the cylinder walls were completely gone on cylinder 5 and 6. So, and the turbo needed rebuild. So we ended up doing a 1J, VVTi 1JZ. So the goal is just stock as possible swap. We did an HKS exhaust and downpipe on it that looks factory, but we're keeping everything the way it is, factory, like kind of as close to as what it came from Toyota. With a little bit of upgrades, we're doing a front mount, a coil radiator, and then we're doing custom intercooler pipes on it. Besides that, though, it's going to be stock.
So whose car is this? Is it a customer car?
Yeah, he's actually from Maryland as well.
Oh, really?
His name's Doug. Probably in his 40s, I'd say. But I think he's one of those guys where I think where these Mark IIIs appeal to a lot of people is, you know, the guys that were going to college or high school when these cars came out, and they were like, wow, like, you know, I want that car. But, you know, back then these were $32,000, and that's like, you know, 50 grand in today's money.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, they couldn't afford it. But now, like, you know, even a nice one, it's still going to go for like, you know, 10 grand or maybe more for a really nice one. But, you know, that's affordable compared to, you know, a lot of cars, you know, any new car is at least 20 grand. You know, so, I mean, you can be in a 1JZ, 2JZ swap Mark III for at least under 30 grand, you know, for maybe even a built car. Kind of depends, like, how much you do yourself and all that. But, I don't know. They're great cars. They're as good as the Mark IV, I think. It just kind of, like, depends on what style you want. You know, the exotic Mark IV, the kind of more boxier 80s kind of looking Mark III, which I like. But
Yeah, and I was telling Ben and Chris, I actually used to have a Mark III. Mine was it was burgundy. I was 16 years old. I traded. It's a funny story. So these cars' values weren't that high back then. This was probably 2004 maybe. And a buddy of mine had it was 189,000 miles on it. It had a Gretty blow-off valve. It had just like a old truss exhaust. Just had bolt-ons and some wheels. It was a 7M GT, and with 189,000 miles, either the turbo or the valve seals, it would smoke like hell. And but dude, I used to love that thing, you know, driving it to high school and whatnot. But then
smoky Supras.
I know, I can't get away from freaking. That's why it's such a pet peeve. I'm like, I gotta fix it. I was just a broke teenage kid at the time, so like when things started to break, like I went to change the brakes and the bolts were all spongy, and I was like, this is about to snap off. Like I gotta get rid of this thing before it's a headache. And I ended up selling it for $2,500, and I kick myself now, obviously. Just like most vehicles that I've sold, it's like, you know, if we could have just held on to it, you know, stored it appropriately, you know, obviously their values have gone up since then. But yeah, I love these cars. He's gonna love that 1J in there.
So if you're,
Yeah, that exhaust is freaking stealth, man. Stealth.
So if you live, if you live in a place that has like strict exhaust rules, like this is like the best exhaust you can get because it's 75 millimeter all the way back. And it flows really well, but it has a really stock look to it.
We're also
Like visual inspection, it'll easily pass it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure on Maryland's laws, but he wanted us to put a cat in it, so we're doing a MagnaFlow high flow 3-inch cat as well. That should keep I've noticed a lot with the 1Js, they smell pretty bad out the exhaust, so that should cut down on that. Shouldn't really affect flow. He's not going for power, he just wants reliable and turnkey and smooth power that the 1J is going to give him. So it's going to be, like I said, close to factory as it can be. So I think it's going to be a nice setup for him.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like this thing is, I mean, underneath here, it looks pretty good. Like,
Yeah, this thing's pretty nice.
aged well.
We resealed the trans, we pulled that all apart.
This is R154?
Mm-hmm.
It's covered in like, you know, an inch of grease.
Really?
Yes,
Yeah.
it fully cleaned it, resealed it.
All new seals, new clutch, factory clutch, drift motion flywheel, Resealed the oil pans when we did the rear sump conversion. And actually factory JZA70 mounts in it, mount brackets anyway, and then the 98 motor mounts in it.
And then we're modifying a HKS 7M downpipe, the 501J flange with the catalytic converter on it.
Cat material. We're waiting for some stuff to come in the mail.
I'm surprised he wants to do the cat. I mean, being a 91, I'm sure he can. I mean, in Maryland, you can register this as a classic car and don't have to do none of that.
Yeah.
Maybe he just really wants to be nice to the environment.
Yeah, I think it's just like one more thing he doesn't have to worry about, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
It's definitely going to be cool how, like you said, it's going to be as factory as
Yeah.
possible, and then this thing's going to just be a freaking a beast. I mean,
Yeah.
the 1J's, I know compared to the 7M, compared to the 7M, it's like night and day.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird how the cylinder walls were scored like that. And like I said, the turbo has chipped fins on it and everything. It's because the 7M ran so good. In this
Ran
thing.
perfectly, though.
It was quiet. It pulled good. You know.
You never even know.
No, and that's
crazy.
why, like, you know, if we never pulled it, it would have just gotten worse if we hadn't, you know, if he hadn't taken it to us to, you know, inspect it and look at it and put a head gasket in it. But I think it's going to be the better thing to be doing to this car in the long run. I think a well-swapped JZ Mark III is, you know, just as valuable as a mint condition 7M car. So I don't think we're hurting the value with it either. Just because I think that's why the Mark IIIs are so underappreciated, is honestly because of the 7M. I mean, they can be built into something if you put money into it and effort. But out of the box, they're just plagued with issues that you've got to just, you know, go through. And I think if these cars came with 1JZs in the U.S. like they did Japan, I think they'd be in a whole other, you know, you have a mini Mark IV essentially. You know, you're getting the JZ.
Totally different.
So we're excited to drive it, see how it sounds with this exhaust. I've never seen on YouTube or anything this exhaust on 1JZ, so kind of excited to see how it sounds.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. Like, it's funny because I saw this thing on the ground, I didn't think much of the exhaust at all. And like you said, once you actually pay attention to it, you can tell it's obviously not just stock by any means. All these mandrel bends and everything. All right, guys, that's probably going to wrap it up. Glad you guys got to meet these guys. Please check out their Facebook, Instagram. They're always posting cool stuff, a lot of cool stuff on their stories. These guys do work hard. I appreciate that about them. You know, they're not all about just the glamour and stuff. They wrench on all this stuff all the time. So just wanted to say thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was good to
Pleasure
be
meeting you guys. Definitely will be back. We're gonna make sure this is a long relationship and do this kind of stuff all the time. Hopefully not just to fix broken shit, maybe just to hang out, you know. So they're actually talking about possibly like an East Coast like Supra type meet. We're gonna try to iron out the details for that kind of stuff. So I'll obviously keep you guys informed and all that good stuff. So I'm all loaded up. Look at that. You can get an Arctic cooler in your Supra. That's better than a minivan.